I think our similarities more than our differences. You know, this is despite the fact that we come from a history of segregation and war, which has created such an unequal society, which in my view, I think is the leading cause of a lot of the social challenges that we face today. But as much as that's our history, and we're still dealing with the aftermath of that history, do I believe that Namibians are generally very peaceful, kind, strong, and brave people. So were we able to really see that unity? For me, I think, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me, we've been able to see that unity with the passing of Dr. Hage Geingob, which was very unexpected to a lot of Namibians. That unity really came to life amongst Namibians, the majority of Namibians, in my view, that we were able to really mourn this loss and this grief to the nation. And I think that unity that was portrayed during that time is the epitome of why we are called, brave warriors. If I can think of one particular thing, is that we were quite able to safeguard our democracy. As enshrined, in the Namibian Constitution, that we were really able to uphold certain fundamental freedoms. And I think, once again, I would like to make an example. Very recently, when Dr. Hage Geingob died, there was a smooth transition of power where you did not necessarily see unrest or even a coup d'etat. And I think it is not something that everybody or around the world, in some parts of the world, can really celebrate. But I think that smooth transition of power, which did not necessarily lead to a vacuum, is something that's worth celebrating 34 years of independence for. And what I think what we should guard at all costs is to continue to safeguard that democracy and that the Namibian Constitution, especially for generations to come. So I think protecting that is one of the biggest achievements that Namibia has reached or accomplished in the past 34 years, and it really was tested at all cost when the late president died. There's a saying, there's no place like home. And I know to a lot of people it really sounds cliche, but I'm also so sure that a lot of people that were able or had the privilege to travel outside the country or even go into exile or go and work overseas for a long time, they would surely resonate, with that. And I just want Namibians, as we celebrate 34 years of independence, to really reflect on that. The fact that there is absolutely, no place like home. And as much as there is enough reason to celebrate 34 years of independence, some might not agree, and justifiably so, in terms of, what your opinions are about politics, development, or any social changes that we challenges that we face in Namibia today. It's justifiable because that ultimately is what democracy is all about, to allow for Namibians to share differences of opinion, and as much as that is the case, I think that we have peace and stability that we should never ever take for granted. But what I would really like to encourage Namibians to do is to really participate as a citizen. I think there are so many challenges that we are facing, but I find that sometimes we disassociate ourselves with whatever that is happening in the country. So I would like to really not only wish, Namibia and Namibian citizens a happy 34th independence anniversary, but I would also like to challenge them to partake in the democratic processes of this country, which, for example, means, for me in particular, if you are unhappy about how the country, for example, is governed, if you don't agree with the pace at which development is taking place in your local authority area, you have a responsibility to hold your leaders accountable, so you need to speak up. Another challenge that we face in Namibia is gender-based violence, or violence of any sort, especially towards the vulnerable in our community. So I want to challenge Namibian citizens as we celebrate and commemorate Independence Day that take up the task to say no to gender-based violence, to not turn a blind eye to what's going on, next door or down the street. That is how you really participate in the democratic process of this country, and make sure that any development that you want for yourself and your fellow countrymen, you need to speak up. You should not be quiet about it. You should demand it, because it is your birthright. And I think that is what independence really brought about. Yes, we're coming from, apartheid, and we're very grateful that we live in a free Namibia today. But we should also take it upon ourselves, to be citizens that really participate. And also, finally, go register and vote. You can't just be a keypad warrior, on social media all the time. Participate, register in the upcoming elections. I just think it is so important that we need to keep on reminding ourselves that let's participate and let's really make our voices heard as Namibians. Because at the end of the day, I would want my kids to live in a Namibia 34 years from now, where they feel still free to speak their mind and demand what is, rightfully theirs. So we have a lot to celebrate for, and I just think with 34 years of independence, we should do so at all cost. And I'm just happy and glad to be Namibian. There's no other place I would rather want to be than in Namibia.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Was that?